If you've been ignoring your needs for years, it can be really hard to explain to somebody what it is you need because your kids have come first, your spouse has come first, your job has come before you. By the end of today's conversation, if you are struggling with figuring out what you need, you're not going to be struggling anymore. If you're new here, I'm Tanisha, the VVS life coach, and my whole mission in life is to help moms make connections with their kids in their other relationships, with everyone that they care about without losing themselves. I went through a period of time where my son was the sole focus of everything that I did. This was from birth to about 8 or 9 years old. He was my entire world. I was also married during this time. And so when my son wasn't my focus, my spouse was my focus. But then I got to a point where I started feeling bitter and resentful because there was nothing for me. There was no time for me. Where was I in our life? And it was to the point where my ex actually made an entire PowerPoint presentation to show me how I appeared in our life. And I gotta say, as much as I love the sentiment and the thought behind it and the time and effort that went into putting that together, watching it and seeing it be how clean the house is, how things are decorated, where things are organized, stuff that I built, it wasn't me. It was the things that I could do for other people. And it sent me on this journey of depression and then self-absorption where I wasn't really concerned about what anybody else needed. I was depressed. I was eating my feelings. I was keeping myself hidden away, locked up in my room. And it was creating a huge disconnect with my family. And when I did come out of my cocoon, I was snappy. I was snarky and would say little sarcastic things because I didn't think about the impact or effect I was having on other people. So not only was I stressed, but then I was taking that stress out on my family, and everybody was kind of miserable. And so then I went on this journey of learning to love myself again and figure out what it was that I needed when my marriage started falling apart. Because at that point, I just knew if I am starting over again, I am going to do things differently and I'm going to prioritize myself and what I need and what I care about. And then anybody else who comes along will complement that, or I don't want it. When we talk about needs, a lot of people think about the physical stuff. Oh, you need food, shelter, clothing. But then we all have greater universal needs. And these are the things that help us to thrive and enjoy our lives and live our best, right? And so when you don't know what it is you need, you feel stuck because you don't even know where to start looking for something like that. But you're in luck because I am a student of nonviolent communication. I have been studying for years, practicing for years, and it's one of those things that I truly believe could benefit everyone, but especially moms and especially moms of color, because this is something that I, for a fact, know most people in my world have never been exposed to this. So I have my facilitator's guide, and today we're gonna do some work together that's a little different from what you may encounter on other people's videos because I don't want this to feel like we are just, you're just listening to me talk. This is a conversation. This is a coaching session. And I'm going to walk you through an exercise today. But before we get into figuring out what you need, there's some information that you need in the background. So the first thing is the difference between needs and desires. So your needs, I've already explained, are those things that help you thrive. But your desires are going to help you figure out what strategies and solutions are going to get you what you need. So that's the difference between a need and a want or a desire. You are only ready to go after your desires when you know exactly what you need and you're comfortable with what you need. Here's why I say this. There are things that we say that we need. An example for me would be, I want to keep this G rated because you may be listening with your children around, but let's just say grown up activities at a certain frequency. But I may be afraid to say that in a relationship because I don't want to be judged as loose or ungodly because I want to experience these things with the person that I love. And so then I don't express that I have this need, but then I feel unfulfilled. And I sit around just hoping that this other person will figure it out and just magically know without me saying what it is. We have to get to a point where we allow ourselves to say, this is important to me, and be comfortable feeling maybe even a little bit of discomfort in that moment. So you have to decide not only, is this a need, but how much does this matter to you? How much does this play a part in your ability to thrive? The next thing that is super important that you need to be able to do is grow your needs vocabulary. When it comes to feelings and needs, we are very limited in the amount of words that we know. And to help with that, because I'm not going to belabor the point, in the Legacy Changers Lounge, and I'll drop a link to that in the notes, but in the Legacy Changers Lounge, I am going to make sure that there is a needs inventory. If it's not already in there, I'm going to just double check, because I want you to be able to first self-identify what you need before you start trying to tell somebody else what you need. Okay, so this is the part where we're going to do our exercise. And if you are in the place where you can close your eyes and you can have quiet around you, I would highly recommend it. If you are listening to this and you are driving, you are at work, you can pause it here and come back to this when you do have a quiet moment, because this is a big deal. If you've been struggling all this time and you've landed on this particular conversation, you need to lock in. And you can't do that if you have a lot of distractions around you. But I am going to get my manual and we're going to go from here for this, because it's one thing to just tell you, it's another to help you walk through this. And I think needs are just too important to gloss over. So I'm going to give you a minute to get settled. I want you to take a good deep cleansing breath. Release the tension that you feel in your face and in your shoulders. And we're going to get started. So if you can, close your eyes. I can't close my eyes because I gotta read, but I want you to sit comfortably and straighten your spine and make any adjustments that you need to make. Bring your attention inward. Focus on you. Close your eyes or lower your gaze. Focus on your breathing. And I want to do 2 more cleansing breaths here. And I want you to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What are you feeling as you focus on your breathing? As you breathe, are you aware of any need that is either being met or not met? Hold that need. We can also call it a value. A universal need or value is something that is precious to all human beings. And if something is precious, you want to care for it, treat it like it's delicate. And so I want you to visualize or even act out holding it in your hands and take some time to just honor that thing that you need. You are allowed to need that. It's okay for you to give yourself permission to need something different from what other people need. Now I'm going to shift your focus. And I want you to think about something that happened recently that you still have unresolved feelings about. What happened? Not what do you feel about what happened, but just the observable facts. What can you see if you had to replay this like a movie and direct it? How do you feel about it now? What need or value of yours, met or unmet, is that feeling pointing to? Hold that need or value. I want you to hold it like it's something precious that you treasure and take some time to just appreciate it. Go back to focusing on your breath. What are you feeling right now? What need is being met or unmet? Hold this need with the kind of care and the full attention that you would give to a special treasure. Now I want you to think about a need or a value that is coming up in your life right now that you spend a lot of energy on. And I want you to just hold that need and recognize how much it matters to you. In the course of this exercise, you've connected with several needs. And I want you to hold them all together and take a moment to appreciate how you value these qualities. When you're ready, carefully take these needs and place them in your heart. Open your eyes, look around your space, become more aware of your surroundings. And I want you to just sit for a second, acknowledging that you weren't lost about what you needed. You were scared to say you needed some of these things. You forgot that you needed some of these things. And others you knew. You always knew. My job isn't to give you the things to want. That's what we pray for. That's what we ask God for. He gives us the want to. But my job is to help you remember where that lives inside of you. I'm going to give you an example just to make this clear. A need that came up for me was security. I need security, and I'm in a place right now where financially I don't feel as secure as I would like to feel. All my bills are paid, but I've got a roof to repair and a ceiling falling down, and it is bringing me stress. And it's taking me to a place where I remember not having enough money to make ends meet, and I was anxious during that time. And so knowing that I need this security and stability is something that I have to allow myself to sit with and value and appreciate. And later on, I can use that to help me shape my desires, the things that are going to help me have that stability. One more for me is kindness. I believe everything can be handled with kindness. And when that need is not met for me, I feel sad, I feel disappointed, I feel hurt. When I feel like I haven't exhibited that value of kindness, I replay those conversations over and over again and think about what I could have done differently, what I could have done better. I become very apologetic and I mourn over my mistake or the thing that I did as a result of not holding that value in that moment. But I know what my needs are. I need security. I need kindness, or I value, if you want to say it that way. I value those things. And so I want you to spend the rest of today just meditating on the things that you have uncovered during this conversation. If you're a journaler, write them down. Revisit them. Don't just put them in there and then keep on moving, but revisit them and allow yourself to accept that it's okay for you to want these things. It doesn't have to look like what your family wanted. It doesn't have to look like what your partner wanted for you. It doesn't have to look like what your kids want from you. I am going to drop again that needs inventory in the Legacy Changers Lounge with the link. Sorry, fellas, this is a mom's only space. And we are going to talk more about our feelings, our needs, and all of these things over the course of many conversations as we are growing into the women that we are becoming, always becoming. Because if I feel like I've arrived, then why am I still here? And in our next conversation, we're going to talk about boundaries and the part that boundaries play in us getting the things that we need. Thanks for coming by today. I know today was a different vibe, a little more calm than normal. I'm not as rah energetic, but it's just the nature of the exercise. And I think sometimes that's necessary. We're in a very tumultuous time in the world, and it's okay to slow down sometimes. So I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.